Hey y'all, today we're going to be hiking part of the Uwharrie National Recreational Trail. So let's just jump in and get started. Some 4th of July hiking in the Uwharrie Mountains. What do you have to say?
Let's get it done.
Alright, we're the Uwharrie National Forest today, and we're right here at Jumping Off Rock Trailhead. And the plan is to take it down about 2 miles and go see a long-standing grave out in the middle of the woods. So there's a lot of intersecting trailheads right here, so we're gonna try and figure out which one goes to the right place, and then we'll be back. Hello? You found it? How far down the road was it? I'm on the way. Alright, so to get to the right trail, we're having to leave the car behind. Just a little bit past the bridge. So if anybody else wants to do this hike, come up to the Jumping Off Rock Trailhead, walk across the bridge about 40 yards, and then you'll be at the Uwharrie Trailhead. Let's go.
Roll on.
2 miles. The Uwharrie Mountains are one of the oldest mountain ranges in North America. They were thought to have once peaked at some 20,000 feet, but now they're sitting at a maximum just over 1,100 feet due to erosion. Prior to European settlement, Native American tribes flourished in the region, and many archaeological explorations into the area have been conducted about these cultures. In addition to Native American activity, gold mines have been left abandoned and scattered in the Uwharrie Mountains, so if you're bold enough to go off-trail, you might just run into some. North Carolina experienced a gold rush in the 1820s and 1830s, becoming the nation's largest producer of gold prior to the California gold rush. In the Uwharrie Mountain region, there were at least 15 mines, including placer mines, shaft mines, and large open-pit mines. Prospecting pits, open mines, and the ruins of mining operations can be found in many places, though some of them are barred off. The point of our video today is to go explore the grave of the little girl. The grave of Diane Woodell sits alone in the middle of the woods not far off a trail known as the Poison Fork Hike. Diane was born on November 11th, 1901. She died at age 10 on December 19th, 1911, and is buried on a slope above Poison Fork. No information reveals the reason for her death, but it's believed she most likely died of natural causes. So why is her grave lone standing in the middle of the woods? In the early 20th century, a preacher came to Poison Fork Creek and built a rudimentary shelter for the attendees of his regular sermons in the area where she's buried. More and more churchgoers began to gather there, and plans were made to build a church on the site. During this time, 10-year-old Diane Woodell died and was buried close to Poison Fork, on the assumption that hers would be the first grave in a new church graveyard. However, for reasons unknown, the church was never built, and now young Diane's grave stands all alone in the deep woods along Poison Fork. Hikers have expressed mixed opinions on her final resting place, calling it lonely, creepy, and peaceful. Many bloggers have detailed a legend of Diane haunting the forest, but there's no scientific evidence of this. So far, this hike has been mostly uphill. Definitely a well-kept trail. Definitely got to keep your eyes open for snakes. These sticks were actually left on a tree at the entrance, so somebody was nice enough to leave them out for other people to use. We'll return them when we finish the hike. This is about our first mile of walking. We did a little bit of the Dark Mountain Trail before this. Here we have the marker for Diane Woodell's grave and the GPS coordinates. We're gonna try and walk around and find that grave. We came from that way. There's a double marker because this trail intersects. We're gonna go up to this one and try and find her grave. Tons of spiders on this part of the trail, tons of spider webs. Can tell this is definitely a less traversed part of the Uwharrie Trail. And here we are, there's the grave. So actually the story goes that a hiker about 10 years ago buried his dog out here so that Diane would have some company out here alone. So we have the grave here, and then the dog's grave is over there with his collar. Aged 10 years and 1 month old, November 11th, 1901 to December 19th, 1911. No cause of death was listed online or even on the grave, so, you know, hikers come by and leave stuff at her grave so she's less lonely and try and keep flowers on it out here. That's one of the folklore tales on the Uwharrie Trail. Glad to share it with you guys since it's not as much out on the internet as some of the other famous trails in America, but we did it today. The GPS coordinates were on that little plaque. I'll drop them in the description below, but it was difficult for me to find GPS coordinates online. All trails did have this on their website, on their app. It's definitely off the beaten path. Used to, there wasn't even a trail out here to get to it. However, it's been traversed more in the past couple years, so now there actually is a trail, again, at the intersection of the Uwharrie Recreational Trail in front of the creek. You'll be able to find it. Right now that we've located the grave, we're gonna head back down the 2 miles of the trail that we came. How many miles are we at?
1.89.
1.89. So yeah, it's not even quite 2 miles out, the grave Definitely easy to access. And it's safe to say that Diane gets a lot more visitors and gets paid respects a lot more often on this trail than she would in a graveyard. Comment below if you're familiar with the Uwharrie trails, if you have any other recommendations, different trails through the Uwharrie Mountains to cover, and any different sites that are interesting. It's definitely a niche little hiking spot in the Piedmont of North Carolina, and all the hikers on these trails are very friendly. All right, we've made it back to the road, right up there. We're right at 2.82 miles, so I'll reason and say that by the time we get to the car, we'll be right at 3. All right, back to the road. And as promised, we're returning these sticks, leaving them up against a tree by a trailhead for a future hiker. While we were in the area, we also decided to stop by and check out Pisgah Covered Bridge. Covered bridges were used back in the day when people still used horses and buggies, so if a storm popped up, they could rest their horses under the covered bridge. This is one of the last covered bridges still standing in America, and the area is super nice and has some picnic tables and trails to check out as well. If you're ever in the Uwharrie area, check out this site as well.